So it was 2020 when I decided to live abroad. That's when I started living abroad. And I've been to several places in 6 years. I haven't just been to one place and stayed there. So I've gone to different places and stayed and have stayed for however long I can stay on the visa. And usually it's pretty generous to most places, 180 days, which is 6 months. If it says 180 days, I'm staying. I'm staying. That's how long I'm staying. Not too long ago, if I went to a place like when I went to Turks and Caicos, which was one of the first places I visited in 2020 before lockdown. I stayed for 10 days. And then in February of 2020, I went to Puerto Rico and stayed for 10 days. So 10 days is the minimum I'll stay in a place. And that's because when I travel, the first day I get there, before I do anything, before I eat a meal, I need to get enough sleep or I can't function. So I make sure I get enough sleep, be it 12 hours or 24 hours or however much time I think I need to recoup. So the 10 days allow me to do that. So that's fine. So I don't be rushing around trying to do everything at one time and trying to see everything. But Turks and Caicos was a nice visit. And so when I decided that I was going to start going places and staying longer than 10 days, the first place that I did that with was Barbados. And I ended up staying in Barbados for 18 months. And after that, I went several places, um, Antigua and stayed for 6 months. I went to Costa Rica and stayed for 6 months. Now I'm currently in Curacao for 6 months. So, and I'm already thinking about the next place I'm going when I leave here. And it's not in the Caribbean. I don't think so, but yeah. So I'm not going to talk about it just yet. But yeah, my thing is this: if I don't want to be in the United States, I don't have to be. It's like people in the United States, in especially like New York City, and a lot of people that I even know who live in New York City, they were born and raised in New York City, act as if leaving New York City is the last thing that would ever cross their mind. I don't understand. I was talking to someone earlier and they were talking about how they have traveled a lot around the world, but one of the things they notice about traveling to a lot of different places is that in the United States, everything costs so much more. And let me tell you, it's the truth. Once you leave the US, you see how much less other parts of the world pays for things. Things like going to the dentist, going to the doctor. If you got an income, you can afford to pay to go to a doctor here. You can afford to go to a dentist. You know what I mean? And it's like people in the US, a lot of people, they just seem to feel like everything is so great in the US that they just terrified to leave the US. And if they left the US, things would just fall apart and they just don't know how they would survive. That's how a lot of people act about leaving the US. I don't get it. I will leave in a heartbeat. I'll see you when I get back. I don't let nobody tell me no, you can't go, you can't do this. But people I know they can't say that to me anyway, so it don't matter. It don't matter. But lots of people are scared to leave the United States. And I don't know, they talk about family. I'm scared. I won't have no family with me. I was looking at a video recently, and the lady was online talking about, oh, it was a video, a compilation of people who had left the US. So this one lady now, she the only one crying. She crying because she not with her family. If you feel that way about your family, then you need to stay where your family is and don't be online crying to the world that you're living abroad, but you miss your family so much that, you got to go online to cry about it. I have family in the US, but I can't let them determine how I live my life. So basically, I've been a nomad, place to place, wherever I decide I want to go. As long as I could get in there, I'm there. And I'm not afraid of much. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of much. I was in Costa Rica, not Costa Rica. Where did it happen? Um, it happened in Turks and Caicos. I had to stare down a pack of dogs, y'all. I did. And the thing about dogs is you can't be screaming and carrying on and acting a fool because that incites them. It does. So I just got as still as I could and inched my way on to the house where I needed to go. Another time I was in Barbados, and it was like the first time I had finally decided to go into Bridgetown because I was there for a long time before like a month before I decided to go into Bridgetown. And it's a good thing I did because as soon as I got to downtown Bridgetown, it reminded me of Canal Street, a combination of Canal Street, Hunts Point Market, and 125th Street in Harlem. That's how congested it was. So, I wasn't going there every day. And there's lots of places I've been that something about it reminds me of New York. And when it reminds me of New York, it's just kind of like, it's just too much. Another city that reminded me of New York was Florence, Italy, Firenze. It just had a New York feel to it. But that was like 20 2001. So that it's been a long time. That was 25 years ago. I can't believe it's been 25 years. But yes, so the way I get to travel is, and so I did that. And also when I turned 50, which was a long time ago, I decided, every year of my life I'm going to try to go someplace I've never been before. And so by making that promise to myself, that took me to lots of different places. And I've spent birthdays in different places, Costa Rica, Bahamas, and different places like that. And so I just make a point of being someplace different on my birthday. And I made it this year, someplace different on my birthday, which was recently. And last year I was in Costa Rica on my birthday, and I had the best chocolate cake I ever tasted. It was so good. My host, who was also named Ruth, Miss Ruth, she bought a chocolate cake for me. It was just like chocolatey, smooth, silky chocolate. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I didn't have cake this year, so I am due for a slice of birthday cake real soon. So when I venture into town here in Curacao, I'll make sure to find me a bakery and hopefully I can have some ice cream with my cake. So yeah, so I enjoy traveling, get to meet lots of different people from different places. You see how people react to you and things. So everywhere I go, I'm conscious of who I am. I know who I am. And when people see me, they know who I am. And I just believe in treating people with manners and respect. It'll get you far in this world. It really will. So I don't shy away from people, and I'm okay being around people if they got good sense. But I don't like chatterboxes, people who try to get you jammed up, and they basically hold you hostage while they do all the talking, and all they want to do is show you pictures on their phone. Don't people realize how annoying that is? How could you do that to a person? How could you do that to a person? Un Nobody came and asked you anything, but you just gonna. That's why I be like, keeping to myself. I'm actually a homebody, and I spend a lot of time alone, and it don't bother me. I find that I'm happiest when I am alone. I don't try to kid myself. I don't be trying to psych myself into think, oh, she looked like she might be okay, or he looked like he might be you know, a sensible person. No, I don't even try to kid myself. I just don't want to be bothered. And if it comes out that we end up talking and it's a good conversation and it was a deep conversation, well, then that's good. I sometimes have deep conversations with people. But yeah, in traveling is kind of different because in my thing, I would rather meet people that's not from the United States because people who come from the United States think a certain way and they are a certain way. I try not to be like typical American, and there are things to be said about typical Americans, but I don't consider myself typical, not by any stretch of anybody's imagination.